I'm going to share with you the drill that completely transformed my golf game when I took a lesson from Stack&Tilt's Andy Plummer some 10 years ago. And I still use this drill to this day, not only in my own golf swing practice, but in the lessons I give on a daily basis. If you want to improve your ball striking and your ball control to a level that you didn't know existed, then you need to stick around and learn the umbrella drill. The umbrella drill gets its name from where the arm and the club finish in the follow through, with the arm holding out the club in this vertical condition, somewhat similar to how you might hold an umbrella. And the purpose of the umbrella drill is to help a golfer move the club into the follow through in a way that manages the club face and reduces the amount of roll or twisting, and allows the arms and the club to keep conforming to the swing geometry, the grid, if you like, that we have built out here on the mat. This is a particularly useful drill if you suffer with pulling, pull draws and pull hooks, hitting the ball to the left. If that's you, then this drill could completely save your golf game. So an extremely common problem I see and that I experience as a player is the inability to move the club into the follow through in a way that allows me to control the club face with any degree of consistency. My personal problem is the fact that I often get the club traveling too far out to the right through impact, getting a high rate of twisting of this club face. That would make me prone to pushing balls to the right, but especially prone to hooking balls to the left. The umbrella drill and the lesson I received from Andy was a game changer, and it will help you as well. What you have to understand when we start out here is how the lead arm and the shaft line up at setup. And what we're trying to do in the umbrella drill and in the follow through part of the swing is to train you how to keep hinging the wrist upwards. The radial deviation or the upward wrist hinge is the magic here that keeps the club face square to the arc or square to the shaft, meaning there's no twisting or rotation about the shaft. There's an upward hinging of the wrist to keep the face square to the shaft. And as you continue moving the arm around the body, the combination of those two factors really helps to manage the club face and reduce any likelihood of that dreaded hook. So when you stand up to the golf ball, the way that I would train a student to understand the feeling of the umbrella would be to get them to stand up and take their trail hand off the club and simply learn to hinge the club upwards, as I said, into this radial deviation position, where you can see from this front camera how the face is staying square to the arc. I'm not twisting it open or closed. And once I achieve this 90-degree angle between my lead arm and the shaft, I'm then going to move the arm around my body. This is a dual motion of lead arm abduction, moving the arm around my body, and my trail shoulder is retracting as well behind me. Move that into a follow-through position, and we're going to start to resemble something like this, where I'd be holding an umbrella above a person who's standing just behind me in this instance. So the umbrella isn't above me, it's behind me, reaching and helping somebody standing to my side. At the same time as doing this, notice how the club face points back directly to the camera. That's the square face discussion, keeping the face from turning or rolling over. So from a down the line view, the club face is looking very much straight back towards the camera. That's the feel in the lead arm that we want to get to in order to feel what the umbrella finish should look like or feel like at the end of this motion. And as I've explained many times before when talking about the follow through, it's extremely important you know where you're trying to get to and that you have some ability to stop this club where you want to in the follow through, as opposed to being at the complete mercy of where this club decides it wants to finish. Too many of you have follow throughs that are completely out of control, both in terms of the balance of your body and also the direction that your hands and arms fling and swing. The club itself has no idea where it's going to stop. It often comes around and bounces off your back. You even find yourself unable to hold your finish position. That's a telltale sign that you're not in control of that finish. And if you're not in control of where the club finishes, you're really not in control of where your ball's going to go. So having a follow-through position that creates an element of control, an element of repeatability and consistency can only help you. So once we've understood the umbrella feel with one arm, we're going to now put the trail arm on the club and try to move to the same spot, what feels like the same spot. The lead arm's going to move around. I'm keeping the shaft up, both hands on the club now, and we end up with the umbrella finish. Now the lead arm in this instance starts to have a small amount of bend to it, because as I reach around with my trail arm to get the club, my left arm needs to have a small amount of flex in it. But what I'm really doing is trying to have that sensation that I'm holding that umbrella, pointing the club face back towards the camera. If I do that successfully, my club head and my hands are going to trace the grid and the correct arc on the ground here that we have mapped out using the T-claw. That's extremely useful in order to control your golf ball. If you can conform to the geometry or the circles that are on the ground here, you're going to find it much easier to control your golf ball. Felt like I really kept the face open there in my follow through, moved the club around. That's an extremely straight shot, almost zero curve on that golf ball. I'm doing this with an 8-iron, but this works for every club. As you saw from the video of my lesson with Andy, I was using a driver, and this completely changed my driving. I was a very inconsistent, very wayward driver of the golf ball. This lesson took me from being that golfer into someone who was extremely consistent and extremely reliable with the driver in my hand. It became the strongest club in my bag. So let's take you through the progression of how to build up to hitting full shots and even the driver using the umbrella drill. If you've watched enough of the drills and the videos on my channel, you'll have seen every version of this drill as we build up to the full umbrella. We start out with the hit hard, stop quick drill, or even just the flying wedge sensation from last video, the last video that's on the channel, where we have this very short finish. We're keeping the lead arm and the shaft lined up. You'll remember that from last week's lesson. We're not letting the club overtake. In order to sense that, I've got this alignment stick just running down the back of this 8-iron to help me get that sensation. So the first thing you'd start out with is just hit hard, stop quick, short follow through. The progression from there would be to move that all the way to 90, 90, 90. That's where we've turned through 90 degrees with the arms and the club parallel to the ground. So the second point and progression of this drill would be the 90, 90, 90 position. And from down the line, you'll see that at that point in time, the shaft still hasn't overtaken my lead arm. There's no rolling or twisting of the club at this point. So if you can get the club to progress to the follow through position, this 90, 90, 90 with the shoulders turned 90 degrees and the shaft still trailing or in line with the lead arm at this point, then you're in good shape. The next thing to do is build in the up, the radial. This is the upward hinging that keeps the club face square to the arc as we keep swinging through, and the movement of the trail arm around the body from being in front to being to the side. We do those movements together. So we have 90, 90, 90, we add the radial and we add the lead arm abduction around the body to the point where I'm now holding this umbrella to my side. That's the progression. Hit hard, stop quick, small flying wedge drills. Second point is 90, 90, 90. Third position would be the full umbrella. And the best way to feel that, once again, is to take that club in your lead hand, add the radial deviation, which is the upward cock or the upward hinging of the wrist, and then move the arm around the body to get a sensation of what we're trying to feel in the finish. This is still a drill that I use to this day. As I say, I get so much value out of this feeling of the umbrella finish, moving the hands and the club more around me. Combine this with the bowler drill with the right foot pulled back slightly, and you've really got a recipe for extremely consistent golf swing. Something that's going to really help you to hit the ball consistently while conforming to a very straight swing direction. The other thing about the umbrella drill, which I really like, is it helps me hit the ball really high. Keeping the face square to the shaft, as I've described in today's video, really keeps the loft on the club face and helps you hit the ball higher, which helps you to control your distance more accurately. So bowler, little bit of right foot back I like to incorporate for my own practice, but really the feeling of the umbrella and the arm moving around, keeping the face up, keeping the face or the club face square to the shaft as I go through into the finish. Another one there that's just started out just to the right, drawing back a tiny bit, finishing just fractionally to the right, almost next to the previous shot. The balls are almost identical. There is so much value in this drill. There's so much value in learning to control your follow through. It's hard for me to communicate that in such a way that you'd truly understand, but I promise you, every single golfer that understands that the follow through is far more important than you would ever believe are the golfers who make the biggest progress. Think about that. Get into the follow through, understand where you're trying to stop, use the umbrella drill to build in a level of consistency and repeatability to your finish that will transfer to the repeatability and the consistency of your ball striking. And moving to the driver, which is without doubt the more challenging club to do this with because of the additional swing speed, but it's equally, if not more beneficial to master the umbrella move with the driver, just for that additional ball control that you probably struggle with when it comes to this club. I know that was my problem for sure. So not wanting the club and the arms to get thrown off my body and incorporate more of this twisting, this screwdriver or this rotational shaft and club face through the ball, I'm looking for that same umbrella feel and finish in the follow through. It just requires a little bit more time and practice to get this right because, as I say, the additional speed of the driver can make this a little harder to manage. But it's the same concept, it's the same idea. I still put a little bit of the bowler stance in my driver. Those of you who've watched me play on the course vlogs will know that that's my standard stance for the driver anyway. But now once I've stood over the ball, my feel is very much to keep the hinge in the wrist as I go through, the upward hinge, and move this club around the grid. Really trying to get a sensation of the hands and the club going around the arc. That's going to be my sensation. I've got a follow through feeling that I'm trying to feel and replicate, and now I'll go ahead and try and execute. That one felt pretty good. Started out just to the right, again, tiny little push draw, coming back towards the target. I caught it very, very slightly towards the toe, or at least that's how it felt off the club face. But I'd be very happy with that outcome. Again, controlling the curve, no overdraw, no hook. That certainly used to be my problem. If it's your problem as well, the umbrella drill will undoubtedly transform your game and give you that level of ball control that you never knew existed. So some education there for you on the follow through, where and how the arms and clubs should finish in order to enhance your level of ball control. If you'd like to learn more about Stack and Tilt, you should click on their Instagram link, or you can go and check out the website. I'll put a link in the description below. There's also other Stack and Tilt drills in a playlist that I made on my channel, which you can find if you click somewhere up here. But before you do that, if you enjoyed the video today, please make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you're ready to continue your journey of education regarding the follow through and how the wrists and the release really work, you should click on this video next. It's one I made about the follow through, whether you roll the club or whether you rehinge the club. It's a really interesting video on how the wrists work in the follow through. And I also mentioned the bowler drill in today's video. If you haven't seen the bowler drill yet, you can go and click on that one next right here.